What's up guys, Brad here from Piney Grove, and also we have Miss Piney Grove and of course the mascot of Piney Grove, Bella, running around messing up the gardens. Today is the day that we're going to put in the garden here at Piney Grove, but the problem is we are way late on this, so we really need to get these seeds in the ground. We actually probably should have started the seeds and be putting actual plants in the ground. But better late than never, or as Grandma used to say, better never late.
Did your grandmother really say that?
I have no idea. It sounds pretty cool though. So what did we do last night, Deb, before it got dark?
Well, we were out here tilling last night before it got dark. Actually, we were sunset tilling. How many folks do that, sunset till? It's actually very pretty.
And that tilled up really nice, didn't it?
It did, and it already looks like we've done a little bit of improvement with the soil over the last year. It's still sandy, but it doesn't look as sandy. It actually looks like it has a little bit of color to it.
So this is real poor soil up here in North Florida, or down here in North Florida. And we actually tilled this last year with the excavator because it was so hard that we couldn't till it any other way. So we deep tilled it with that. We had our first summer of a garden, and then we had a fall garden, and they were fairly successful, but we've just got to continually improve the soil, which is why you see wood chips on one half. That's an experiment, if Deb would let me show it.
Oh, I'm trying to get out of the way, and I got in the way. It's my
We're
gift.
going to use this Summit potato plow or furrow maker, and we're going to make furrows. And then in that white bag back there, we have some potting soil. Actually, it's not potting soil. We were growing fruit trees in pots, and they make a special soil blend with that has a lot of bark and stuff in it, so it has a lot of organic matter. So we're going to fill that trench with that organic matter, and then we're going to hook to the Summit hiller and hill it up, put black plastic on it, and then burn holes in the plastic to plant our plants. So that's what we're going to do today, so let's get started.
He says we have some potting soil. See the white bag? I want you to see how big the white bag actually is. So let me go over here, show you how big this bag is.
Deb still got her coffee because she's
early.
out here running Bella, and I like to get an early start.
It's a pretty big bag, so it's not some.
This is real light, and you can see there's a lot of organic matter. There's some peat moss in there. There's some decomposed roots from the fruit trees. So that'll be real good to start the seeds in. We're gonna scoop it with these red buckets. What do you think about that?
I think I like the idea of scooping with the red buckets, and it is lighter than gravel and rocks, but we'll see. I still think it's gonna be a little more time consuming than he thinks.
I do not think this is gonna go quick. I always say, oh, this will only take a minute, but this is not gonna take a minute. So now we're gonna get started.
First pass with the potato plow. First time we've used this. Look excited to see it work, and he's getting off the tractor, so I guess an adjustment. Thinks that's a little too deep. He said he shortened the top link as much as he could, and he tilted it. Now let's see what she does. That looks nice though, doesn't it? Look at that. Oh, Bella, come. Oh, she listened. You see how good she listened? Yeah, it looks really good. That's as satisfying as watching a tiller. I gotta tell you, that is cool. It doesn't take much to amuse me, but isn't that cool? Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. That's where he started out before he shortened it and tilted it. That's what he ended up with. I don't think we're gonna get out of this project today with a clean Bella. Every time we use a new implement that we haven't used before, it's very interesting for me. As we've talked about before, Brad grew up on a farm. I did not. So all of this is still very new to me. I'm excited for the garden. I'm excited to see what'll grow. I'm excited to see what we can get to grow, because like you said, the soil isn't the best. But every time we plant and then we retill the organics when we're done for the season, it helps. So I have good expectations for this garden this year. He just said he went too deep on that one. Yes, Bradford, it does look like you went too deep. And Bella thinks he just made her a playground. That's a big bag of dirt. We'll see how far it goes and how much shoveling we do today. Which, like he said, is not that big of a deal. I'll give him a hard time about it, but it is light material, so it should go pretty quick. But again, I'm not telling him that. Goodbye, potato plow. Goodbye. Your time today is done. I really liked watching that. I'm excited about the hiller too.
That worked pretty good, but I did sink it a little bit too deep and made too deep a furrow, and we don't have that much of that organic dirt or that bark. So we're done with the furrow maker. Potato plow, I think, is the best term for it. So I'm going to take this off, put on the hiller. I think I have to adjust the hiller because we already have pre-cut or preset widths to our landscaping cloth. So this is how wide our landscaping cloth is, so we can't have a hill any wider than this. All right, Deb, I need some of your muscle. So just kind of take those arms and go sideways with them. Deb always says that she's not half the man I think she is. Both these implements are pretty light, but this one's sharp, so we're gonna be careful with this one. All right, so push that to the side, put that pin on there. You can lift the arm up. I like 3-point hitch equipment like this that you can just kind of manhandle or woman handle.
Look at me putting on equipment.
So this is a hiller, and it takes dirt from the outside and puts it in the center, and that should fold back that dirt that we have there from that furrow and cover up that dirt we're going to put in the center.
This is all new to me, and when we did the folks' garden last year, we didn't have this equipment, we didn't do this. So I told Brad, I said, okay, so we used a potato plow. We created a furrow, yes. I said, now we're gonna use the hiller and do what? And he said, we're gonna fill in the furrow. And I said, oh, well, what's the purpose of doing that? And he said, a place for the dirt, for the roots to grow. So I think I might have a grasp of it, but I'm not sure. And he said, hey, explain that to the folks. So there you go, folks. You now know as much as I do, which you probably knew as much or more than I do before I said that.
All right, Deb, let me find the most holy pair of gloves that I can find for you.
That's normally what I get.
You either get this pair, well, you can look at them if you like them.
Oh, look at that.
Or you can have this pair. You probably want that pair, right?
Yes, because let me show you this pair. This pair does that. So, which actually what we're doing today, it probably doesn't matter, but when you're screeding rocks, that matters.
If you missed that video, go check it out, because we were taking some dirty rocks and making them clean.
That's right, he said we were taking dirty rocks and making them clean. Our 5-year-old grandson would love this.
Right?
He would love this. He'd be like, playing the dirt with buckets? Yeah.
Just taking these buckets of dirt and I'm putting it here where whatever we try to grow, the roots will be. Okay. So leave a comment down below. I mean, I grew up on a farm, so I know how to farm in good soil. But as far as, you know, a garden that's very specific to certain plants, we're just learning that. And we have a very unique growing season here in Florida that if you don't start early, then the summer will wipe out your garden because things get too hot and the pests just become uncontrollable. So you can have an early garden and a late garden, but in the middle of the summer, it's just really hard to have a garden here. You go, girl.
I know,
what you think?
Look at me. I think that was easier than screeding rocks.
She's still pretty shook about screeding those rocks, isn't she?
That's just my comparison.
So I become the dirt scooper.
Well,
because Deb said that I'm better at it than she is.
He's much quicker.
Just scoop it up.
How thick are we doing this?
Until we're going to use it all.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh, nice.
What?
We're going to use it all.
What? You don't like that idea?
Well, I was thinking we're just going to use what we needed.
Well, we still have some more at home.
Oh, good deal.
All right, we emptied it. One thing that's interesting is these were in big pots for us to grow fruit trees. The idea was we were going to grow fruit trees before we moved out to the farm in these big pots and then repot them when we got out here. But disease got them, so we got rid of all the big planter boxes. But the squirrels would take the neighbors' full peanuts that they were putting out for them and bury them in our fruit tree boxes, and we're still finding them.
Okay, so now I get it. When he said we create the furrows and fill it with dirt, at first I was thinking he meant the dirt that we just pulled out, but oh, the potting soil, so that makes perfect sense to me. I have actually higher hopes now with this potting soil mix in there that we'll have a good yield.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily compost, it's just a well-draining soil for fruit trees, but it's much better than the soil we have. and this bark and stuff in here will break down once we cover it up. And if nothing else, retain moisture. We're still gonna have to fertilize and do those type of amendments to have a good garden here. But over the years, with those wood chips breaking down and us adding these amendments, this soil will get rich, and we'll have a good garden here in the future. But it did okay last year. It'll do better each year going forward.
Fertilizer?
Yep. Okay, next part of this experiment is try and drive right over that. When I went down here, I didn't put the tractor in the same exact tire marks as when I made the furrow. I moved over just a little bit. And I think once we put that plastic down, we may go chip some wood and put wood chips in between. We're gonna hold the plastic down with dirt, but then put wood chips on top of that dirt. Maybe, but it won't be in this video.
All righty, excited to see this. Hiller in action. Center of the tractor on the furrow. There we go. It's deep where the hiller blades are. Raise them up. I mean, it's better. It's a big hill. How big is the hill supposed to be on a hiller?
Is that better?
That looks a lot less aggressive. I don't know how big the hill's supposed to be. Okay, so I don't know how big the hill's supposed to be on a hiller. So this first run is experimental. As you see here, it's aggressive, had a big hill, and the more he raised it, now he's got a little divot in the center. Oh yeah, that looks really good. That looks good. So you can see, raised it a little too high, and now he lowered it. So it's all trial and error for us too. Oh yeah, that looks good. Bella, no. All righty, there you go. First hill. Or I'm not sure if do you call it a hill? It's a hiller. Do you call the finished product a hill? I don't know, but it's super cool. What's not super cool is Bella. Bella, come. Well, okay, so Bella's super cool. She's just not super cool to worry about. Come here, get. Second pass, or second row, or hill. That's good. Look at her go. Nice. Okay, he said we might have to knock it down a little bit, but we're just gonna put the plastic on to see how it's gonna work as far as size goes. That looks like a good size.
So this isn't perfect. This is still an experiment, but it would work good if we moved the disc out a little bit to make them a little bit wider. And that last furrow I did, that was the deep furrow. So it's gonna take a little bit of manipulation of the dirt with a rake, but I think it's gonna work good. And you can see that the plastic here lines up pretty good with the width. So not perfect, but it's pretty close.
Alrighty, so he just wants the top knocked off to get a little bit rounded. You want me to do that?
I'm almost done. It'll work.
You see how I did that there? See? See? So I don't claim to know about farming, but that's a pretty hill, and I get that it's pointy. But would you knock down the hill, or would you just throw your plastic over it as it was? Just curious.
I was one of those kids that played in the dirt, always came into the house dirty. We lived on a 200-acre farm and also was on the water, so I was always down in the mud and everything. And this kind of brings some of that back. But this is kind of fun. It's not too warm out here yet, and I think this is going to work out really good. What do you think, Deb?
I think so too. I said I have high hopes for it. I have high expectations, not even hopes.
So I think it's going to look good. Will it grow a good crop? We don't have the best soil here. We talked about that, but we're going to do what we can. Squash will grow just about anywhere, so we should at least get some squash out of it. They grew sweet corn. When I say they, my sister and my dad kind of did it last year. They grew sweet corn, and there was areas of the soil where it grew decently, and sweet corn or corn is a grass, so it uses a lot of nitrogen. But my dad didn't like the taste of it. My sister did. But this area here, just 5 years ago, was planted pines. Pines planted in a row. So right about here was a big burn pile. So this soil was bad to begin with, but then it got really bad when the guy who cleared the land for us dug a big hole to bury the stumps and brought a lot of that clay to the top. Probably should have left this furrow where I knocked it down on that side, because look, you can just take that furrow and put this dirt over here. There's the beginning of the bed. Yeah, I'm gonna create a furrow with the rake, a deeper furrow, so we have some way to bury the plastic. Now, if we had set the hiller up properly, we wouldn't have to do all this.
I'm gonna go back to what you just said about you like to play in the dirt though.
Yeah, but I'd rather play on the tractor. Well, the fun has left the building, hasn't it, Deb?
Yes, this is no longer fun.
So all the tractor work was cool. I shouldn't have filled in that little furrow on the side. So we're gonna go down and recut these, because you need somewhere for the edge of the plastic to go in so there's less manual labor. But Deb, you thought we were gonna put that down and it'd be a simple kind of scoot the dirt over. What did you learn on that?
I learned that nothing we do is simple, and we add steps to things, but in the end we get it done. The next one will go better when we recreate the hills and leave those little trenches to tuck our plastic. I think it's gonna go a lot quicker, because that was just a lot of extra steps that I don't think we're gonna have to do anymore.
So they make machines that actually do this. I actually worked on a tomato farm where they had something that not only cut the furrow, but it mounded it, and it laid the plastic and also laid the drip line all in one pass down there. We don't have that here at Piney Grove. We got me, and we got Deb, and we got Bella, who's no help at all.
No.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move these out just a little bit. You can actually put them way out here, but I think I'm just gonna move them a couple inches this way or that way out, and then also take the disc, which are pushed in a little, and maybe push them out a little bit. That way they don't create as tight a furrow, and that should give us the deep lines to bury the plastic.
A rare sighting of Bella laying down.
I can't believe this little DeWalt. It's a 1/2-inch drive impact. You can take off lug nuts with this thing. I'm sure glad I have it. We even use it for driving screws. It's so light. I can't believe how much power they have in cordless tools anymore. What I did was move this against that stop there where that 3-point hitch is hooked up. That way I don't have to take these U-bolts all the way out.
That's a mighty fine wrench you got there, mister.
Yeah, it's right size for the job, huh?
Looks almost cartoonish.
I love this thing.
How could you not?
Right? Best tool ever, besides that impact wrench. So I think the best way to do this is to make the row even wider. I'd have to totally take apart the hiller. We're not going to do that today, but for the next time we use it, I think that'll be the method. But this gave me a nice clean edge. I'm just going to kind of pull that dirt a little bit to the side. I'm just going to pull this away like this, and that way we'll have some dirt to put over top of it. This is probably the third different way that we're trying to figure this out. And that's, I guess, what just happens when you're, not an expert at something and you haven't developed all your processes. You just got to kind of learn and figure out what works best for you. But sometimes you just got to do it yourself. You can watch somebody else do it and it might make sense, and then you put it into practice and it just doesn't work for you. So sometimes you just got to learn how to do it with the equipment that you have, and that's what we're doing today. You starting to second guess this whole gardening thing?
I'm starting to second guess our processes. I mean, it'll be great, don't get me wrong, but I feel like we do things that other people wouldn't do. Like, would you use your hiller and then come back and hand dig more of your trench, people? I mean, honestly, I'm gonna guess no.
Yeah, so the reason we're doing it is we need dirt to put over top of the plastic. So we're just kind of cleaning up that edge.
Right, I get why we're doing it. I'm just asking people if they would do it or if they just use the...
Deb thinks there's a machine out there. You just one pass is planted, and then 60 days later, you have the most wonderful garden in the world.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't think that. But I just think that Bradford is real meticulous, and he does things very well, but that a lot of people wouldn't do that. They'd use the existing trench that was there and tuck the plastic and call it a day.
There's a lot of beautiful gardens out there, a lot of beautiful gardens on YouTube, and I'll guarantee every one of them took tons and tons of work. You don't have a nice garden just by throwing some seeds in the ground.
Oh yeah, well I agree.
One more, Deb.
Woohoo.
We got our 4 rows in, everything's all buttoned down so the wind won't lift up our plastic. Now we're gonna plan where to put our plants. And we went to a feed and seed store that I know about, and I thought they closed at 12:30, but they closed at noon, and we rolled in there at 11:55. They were already starting to shut off the lights and close the gate. But I went in there and grabbed some cucumber seed, and I also grabbed some green bean seed. But Deb found the plant section outside. What kind of plants did you get?
I just got a couple for comparison. I bought some bell peppers.
We bought some squash seed, but Deb also picked up some started squash, got some green peppers, and there's some kind of tomatoes. I forget what kind they are.
It said hardy tomatoes that will produce until the freeze.
June sun will kill these tomatoes before any freeze. We're gonna try and make little holes, and we're gonna burn them in here, through here, and we got some water in this little watering thing that I found in the shed in case we catch the plastic on fire.
Did that work how you wanted it to?
Well, I'd like the hole to be a little rounder, and typically what you do is get a piece of plywood with a round hole in it, and that way you only burn where the round hole is, but we've already got way too much time invested in this garden today to be doing that. But yeah, that's good enough, and we can always do it a little bit more if we need to get in there to plant. All right, that came out as good as it could have. I didn't set anything on fire. You had enough water to cool everything down. So squash and green beans. What you got to say about farmers?
God bless them. God bless farmers. I'm not even joking. God bless you, every one of you.
Since we checked in last, we've got the peppers planted, we got the tomatoes planted, we got holes down here. All those have green beans and squash in them, and this side has watermelon and cantaloupe. We got 1 row left. What are we planting?
Corn.
Yep.
We're planting corn.
We're gonna do the last of that row right there where the torch is, all the way down with sweet corn, and then we're gonna do, I guess we have 2 things left. Then we're gonna do cucumbers so they can climb those trellises.
Look at that. He's got a lot better at that, hasn't he?
Yeah, we've learned a lot since we turned the camera on last time. All right, guys, Piney Grove is all planted for this season. Any final words, Deb?
God bless farmers, and God bless you gardeners that find this therapeutic.
Yeah, there's people that spend all day in the garden. I don't think you'll find Deb spending all day in the garden, but we are excited to watch this grow. Pop over to our Facebook page, Piney Grove Homestead and Mini Farm. We'll be posting lots of pictures as these things start to grow. But until next time, y'all take care out there, and remember, life's short.
Be kind.
And tractor hard.
Take care.
Bye.